Hi, I'm Lily. I'm a non-native English teacher. I started teaching back in 2017 and since 2020 I have been a full-time freelancer. In this video I'm going to share my experience of working in the biggest English online school, Skyeng. Let's get started. If you're not familiar with Skyeng, it is an online school based in Russia and it provides English classes for kids, for adults, for everyone, pretty much. The classes are held on a virtual platform. There is also a built-in dictionary, a translator, interactive home tasks, activities, speaking clubs, so basically lots and lots of English-related things going on inside Skyeng. I worked in Skyeng for 3 years. I first got the job right after I had turned 18. I was still in my first year of uni. I did not have any degree. I did not have any experience. And to this day, I still think it was actually divine intervention or something, like a miracle, because I don't know how they hired me. I had to teach 50-minute classes on that virtual platform that I told you about, and the rate per each class was 240 rubles, which is more or less $3-4, I suppose.
I know.
In my defense, I can say that I was 18 and $3-4 was still more than zero. So, that was more than I could ask for, and I was happy. I could teach literally from the bed in my campus, in my dorm. I had 2 roommates living with me in that tiny little room, and they were so patient. Now I'm actually realizing how patient they were, because I would literally sit, facing the wall behind me and teach for, 2 hours or 3 hours sometimes. And they had to be quiet, obviously, because, you could hear everything. The room is so tiny. So yeah, that's how I worked. And then with experience, basically my pay got a little bit higher. I don't think it reached more than $8, to be honest. But like I said, it was totally fine for me at that time. And I actually managed to travel. I went to Europe and saw a few countries there. I went volunteering in Bratislava for 2 months. So I had to combine teaching in Skyeng and volunteering in the hostel and partying, because it was a party hostel. So I managed to enjoy life despite that low pay. Now I want to share a few other things which I enjoyed while I was working in Skyeng, because if you are a non-native English teacher and you're considering applying to Skyeng, maybe these things will convince you or just give you more information, like an inside information. I'm looking at my notes here. The first thing that I really liked in Skyeng was the platform. It is really well made, it is interactive, the students enjoy it. For teachers, it is really easy to use. So it's just right there, you don't need to prepare anything, you don't need to create any accounts. Everything is in the same place, even the materials, right? That's the second thing that I really enjoyed, that you don't need to prepare so much. Of course, you need to go through the lesson plan and just understand, what you're going to be talking about with a student. You might want to look at their results from the homework, but generally you don't need to understand which materials to use, which book to use, etc. It's really, really convenient for the teacher. The third great point about working in Skyeng, that you don't need to, as a teacher, you don't need to find your own students. The school gives them to you automatically, and I do not remember having any issues with finding students. When I opened my hours, and I got to choose, actually point number 4, I got to choose the hours that were convenient for me to work. All those hours were always booked. So because there were so many people wanting to learn English, that I was always booked. And I'm sure most teachers in Skyeng don't struggle with not having students to teach. If they work there, if they get good reviews, I'm sure they will have students. The next thing that I found really awesome in Skyeng is that there are constant growth opportunities, both personally and professionally. They host webinars, they host workshops and some kind of courses. If you are a beginner and if you have never taught before, I think Skyeng is a really great place to start, because you will learn so much and so fast. Honestly, if you just pay attention, if you observe, if you learn from your mistakes, if you understand how platform is structured and how classes are structured and how much time you need to spend in the warm-up and how much time you need to, speak L1 with a student, etc. So if you pay attention to the details of the platform and if you attend workshops, etc., you really will gain experience, which will allow you then to go freelance if that's something that you eventually want to do. Now I want to share a few reasons why I decided to leave Skyeng. And like I said, I worked there for 3 years, which I think was actually a bit too much, because I was honestly scared to leave. I was scared that I won't find my own students. I will not have a stable income. And, there were so many things that I was hesitant about before I decided to leave. So I definitely would have done it a little bit earlier if I had a chance to. But the first reason was basically that I felt that I hit the glass ceiling in Skyeng. I knew the platform so well. I knew the process. I knew the requirements, and everything was kind of all the same for a really long time. So I wanted some diversity, which maybe I couldn't even introduce so much, because still when you're working for a company, there are certain rules, there are certain limits, that you have, and you need to work within those limits. So that was the big reason for me. The second reason was that I wanted more freedom, and I wanted to just be my own boss, and not have mentors and supervisors watching me and controlling what I do and how I teach. I wanted to teach as I wanted to teach and introduce, like I said, some new things to the classes. Reason number 3 is that I wanted to choose my own students. And if you are working at a school right now, you know that you sometimes are assigned students that you don't really get and they don't get you. And there is just that tension between you and the student, and you want to say like something is off, but you can't because you don't really have the explanation of why things are off, but it's just that energetical feeling, So when I was in Skyeng, I remember I had one student who was an older gentleman. I think he was in his 60s or something. And he was a nice man, don't get me wrong. But it was just so difficult for me to talk to him. And he had some problems with discipline, and he didn't want to do the homework. And, we were just so different personality-wise that I honestly hated going to classes to him. I knew that if I were my own boss, I would have the students that I liked. And if I didn't like somebody, or we had really, really huge problems in communication, I would have the chance to say, okay, this is not working, I'm not giving you everything that I can, we're not taking the most out of these classes, so maybe another teacher or a group class or a course would fit you better. So that was really important, and I really felt that when I decided to leave. And the final reason, but probably one of the most important ones, is that I wanted to earn more. I wanted to get more money, and I wanted to increase my hourly rate, because earning for maybe $6-7 was not enough at that point. And I realized that I do have experience now. I know how to talk to students, I know how to teach them, I help them reach their goals. So my students were getting the results, but I was still stuck at that same hourly pay rate. Basically those were the reasons why I decided to leave. Again, I would have done it earlier if I had a chance to go back and change something, but I guess that was the journey, and it just took me a little longer than most people probably. I don't know, I didn't really ask. So yeah. And if you're curious to hear more about how I transitioned into freelance and how I organized my work in the beginning, please leave a comment down below and I will make the video about that in the future. Let's summarize. If you are watching this and you are a non-native English teacher and you're looking for your first job ever, I think Skyeng can really be a good starting point, because again, they will teach you everything and they will build that base for you to go freelance in the future. And hopefully you won't need 3 years to find courage to do that like I did. But if you already have a little bit of teaching experience, and if you're maybe working at the moment at another school and you're just considering switching to Skyeng, I would probably not recommend to do that, because I don't think you will learn a lot there. I think you could transition into freelance and actually work in that direction. And I will talk about freelancing as an English teacher more on this channel, so subscribe not to miss future videos. I'm going to talk about how to find clients and how to avoid burnout and how to structure your time and manage your time better. So all the details about being a freelancer as a non-native English teacher. So subscribe to the channel, you'll learn all about that. Alright, well that is the end of today's video. If you have any further questions about Skyeng, leave a comment down below. Thank you so much for watching this video. I will finish this video here and I'll see you around. Bye bye!